Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I am Will, and I'm joined by my co-host here, the Grease. Say hello. What are you drinking, Grease?
Red's Wicked Apple.
what did you almost call it?
Red's Wicked Rapple. Red's Wicked.
Why are you drinking that?
Dude, somebody's got to do it. They put these daggum things everywhere on end caps and every daggum freaking grocery store out there, and I went to the grocery store today, and there they are, just in all their glory. And I was like, "Well, daggum, that looks pretty daggum good." And it says 8%. Have you ever seen an 8% at a grocery store?
Yes.
I think they can get away with it being 8% because if you expand this to an actual 12-ounce can, it'll get around to that 5%, and they don't have to call it high gravity.
How many ounces is in that can?
No, that's a great question. I think 8.
Oh, it's a mini guy.
I mean, 10 fluid ounces, which I don't know. I don't know what the difference is between regular ounces and fluid ounces. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Did you see that a daggum robot landed on Mars today?
I saw something about it, yeah.
Dude.
I love that you're completely dating the show, though, for the podcast.
I don't care. It's for today, and you know what? We're going to release this soon. It's fine. Dude, that thing... If I could create a definition of the word saunter, it would be that.
You've tried to do that. You've actually tried to define the word saunter poorly for years now.
Right. I'm going to be honest with you. This stuff kind of gives you a little acid reflux.
No, that's just because you have acid reflux. You just have a poor esophagus.
Yeah, I agree with that. But this is not basic. This is acidic. I'm going to set this over to the side.
Right.
It's a great option, though, if you want to just, if you want to stay away from that cast strength apple brandy that's at Barrels and Brews. It's freaking killer.
I feel like you drinking Red's apple ale is the most on brand thing you could be doing.
Well, I did love that
mainly because I don't think you understand branding.
Well, I do understand branding. I understand that Chardonnay in a can porch pounder is dadgum freaking great.
Our buddy Bo over here on YouTube that's watching. And by the way, we are on YouTube live again, which is fun, recording our show. And so if you're watching, welcome. And you aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. And if you're listening to the audio version on podcasts, players, go ahead and saunter, as Grease would say, over to the YouTube page of the podcast, youtube.com/the podcast, and go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell so you get notifications when we says who drinks anything from the end caps. That's where they put the stuff they can't sell.
Dude, I live on end caps.
He's partially not wrong.
Well, I know, but I mean, I live there. You know what I mean? Like if I saunter past an end cap and I don't consider it, like I feel guilty about it because you
consider yourself a failure, is what you're saying.
Well, I just know
you don't consider the end cap.
Well, I just know in a couple of days that thing's going to be twice as expensive on the normal shelf. So it's like
you can't pass up a deal no matter what, even if you don't like the product.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
that's why I move houses all the time.
Oh gosh. So you're sitting there You're sitting there drinking a Red's apple ale. We're in the middle of a frozen tundra in Middle Tennessee. It's we had an ice storm early in the week, starting on Sunday and Monday, and then we had another several inches of snow that dumped on us over the last 24 hours. So we're not going many places. I've just been on a walk.
Fluid inches or just regular inches?
Fluid, definitely. Well, frozen fluid inches.
Right. That's the same.
Mm-hmm. So,
I heard that 2 inches of rain, if it's cold enough to snow it, it would be like a foot of rain or a foot of snow.
Well, do you understand like expansion of water, kind of like ice,
expansion
like
and
ice
contraction? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that you're in a math equation. You're supposed to do one before the other. It's order of operations.
Did you share this in Podcasters for us?
I didn't share it anywhere.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
So these are just like legit people that are just here.
Yeah. So we are having a good time. We're going to be drinking a little bit tonight, but we are going to go over something we did last week. It was Friday before the storm came. It was actually a little bit of nervousness because it was starting to get cold and there was some pre-ice that was coming. It was kind of like the fridge ice of this winter storm. It was like kind of like, but we went out to Lynchburg, Tennessee to saunter to Jack Daniel's, the distillery there. You may have heard of it. And we did a barrel pick there. It was the first time we've done a barrel pick of Jack Daniel's, I think ever that we have. And we were on property there at the distillery, had a great time. We thought we'd talk about it a little bit tonight, and then we'd drink a little Jack Daniel's later in the evening as we go on for the 15. So I think we should talk about it. Friday afternoon, we missed lunch at Miss Mary Bobo's. We went to work like responsible adults, and then we headed out there because it's not that far from us. It's only just over an hour. We headed out there with some Chick-fil-A right after the noon time hit.
Yeah, and Don, the owner of Fairview Liquors and Fine Wines, whose pick it was, we just happened to be a part of it. He claims that that's working.
Well, I mean, it definitely is if you own a liquor store, Grease. That's clearly working.
Right. So, okay, second question or statement. I don't know if this is a question or a statement. Why don't we own our own liquor store, Will?
I'm not going to lie. You've actually tried to pitch me on that before, and I've said, no, you tried to pitch me on a bar.
Well, yeah, I'm going to pitch you on all that. So I think we should have our own liquor store. I think we should have our own bar. Like, why would we not?
Okay. It's a lot of work going into those businesses. I don't know if you do.
I understand, but I also know that they do well. I mean, not bars right now, but I'm just saying, hopefully we're looking up here pretty soon, and a bar is going to do great because everybody's just going to be like, "Dadgummit, I want to go to a bar," and then we're just sitting here like, "Come to our bar. We're ready to party." I'll open up the E.H. Taylor Tornado and start, doing one of those pyramids with the shot glasses.
This is legit the reason we don't have a bar.
Why?
Because you're such a generous giving person. This is a backhanded compliment, by the way. You're such a generous giving person. You would, as Bo in the chat said, bankrupt us. You would quickly. Yeah. You would give out all the inventory or drink all the inventory yourself, and we would make $0, and you'd probably get us into some sort of like fine situation. Well, there would be fines levied.
Where you make the real money, because you now own a bar and a liquor store, it's in the write-offs, bro. You just get to write it all
Once
off.
Again, this is the reason that you and I are not in that business, because while you are very talented and good at many things, I don't know this would be your forte. So we headed out.
You know that forte in band means loud?
So no, you are forte.
Right.
This just isn't your forte.
Right.
There's a key distinction.
I wanted everybody to understand what you're saying.
So we drove out there. We had a lovely Chick-fil-A lunch in the car. We had our buddy Jeb with us, who was coming out to take some pictures. And we got out there. We went to the tasting room, and it was great. They had everything set up. It was at the we got to the visitor center. You go in, they do a temperature check. You get a sticker that says temperature verified. And then we went over to the house and went in to a room that had a very lovely open window kind of configuration. They had tables set out, and they had our tasters all set out. And they put out these little shot glasses. I have one over here. I should grab it in a minute, but that are like shot size glasses, but they look like a barrel when you're doing the barrel pick. So we had 3 barrels of Jack Daniel's rye, not cast strength. It's the 94 proof, I believe, is what they proof it at. But
yeah, they already had it
that.
proof down. I was excited to maybe try the barrels at cast strength, but we didn't get.
I warned you weren't going to be able to.
I know, but you know,
and then you go.
No, I did not do that.
I think we have it on film.
I just asked.
We'll ask Jeb.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll just have to go and get one of those rye limited editions, is what I said.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. Well, I don't have it yet. My buddy Michael down the road's got it for me. I think I gotta still pay him for it and get it, but he's very generous to do that, which I'm very excited about.
So we went through the tasting. We had a great experience with that. Lexi walked us through it. It was wonderful. She is, I believe, like the assistant master distiller. She's an assistant distiller there. She's very high up in the distilling team. She's been there. She told us her background there. She started in like bottling and quality control and kind of worked her way up. She's also a generational employee, which a lot of Jack Daniel's employees are. They have other family members that work for the distillery. She has an aunt that worked for the distillery, and she actually met her husband on the job there, and they are now married, and he works in like the single barrel line. So really cool, really interesting. She's very knowledgeable, was able to give us a lot of information that was background information.
She's right under stuff. Chris Fletcher.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that was kind of it was a cool thing that it was our tasting and barrel program experience was being led. We were being walked through it with someone that really has stake in the brand. That was pretty cool to me.
Which I'm very excited to announce. We can release this because I got an email about it today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that email.
Chris Fletcher, master distiller from Jack Daniel's, would love to be on our Drinking With show. So we're going to have, that's going to be coming probably sometime in March. I got to coordinate all that, but I'm very excited about that. There's like 500 questions. Like
that's one of those I get very nervous about.
Just because I have questions?
Right. Because whenever you say you have 500 questions, 6 or 7 may be appropriate.
Well, he's like really close to our age, Will. And he's a master distiller of one of the, if not the largest whiskey brand on the planet, most recognizable. And he's like our age. And his like great grandfather, whatever, I don't know grease facts.
Once again, also what makes me nervous.
Multi-generational, a part of Jack Daniel's. Like Joker started out.
His grandfather was Frank Bobo.
Yeah. He started out doing daggum tours at Jack Daniel's when he was in high school. And it was just super easy because he knew everything already. So he would just
this is actually a question of yours, I think, for Chris Fletcher. You're going to be like, and then you did tours, and then you had a great grandfather that one time drank Jack Daniel's. I mean, stop me if I'm wrong. And then you go on and be like, is that all right? And that's always your question.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly right. My first question always is me assuming everything and then pitching to them, be like, am I right on that?
Yeah. Hey, the first step to recovery is admitting the problem that you have.
I don't think that's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's called a synopsis. It's called a synopsis pitch is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
I synopsize and then I pitch it.
Yeah.
And then they take over and then they actually give you the real facts. No, here, I'm just excited. I'm enamored that you can be that young. It's like the daggum president of the United States, Will.
I mean, there's a lot of weight to it. Like, it's definitely a big deal. And it was cool when we had Jeff Arnett on that we were able to do an interview, but the difference in drinking with and more of that interview style is that it's supposed to just be hanging out, having a conversation. It's also why 500 questions make me nervous. But it is going to be like, and they know that concept as well, that drinking with is just like, hey, we just sit around, have some drinks and learn more about each other, like through conversational style. So it's a fun show we've been doing. I've had fun doing it. Like if you're watching now or listening now and haven't watched ours with Whiskey with a View that we just did on Monday, you should go watch it. It was fantastic. It was a really good time. Had some really interesting knowledge that came out of it. Just us sitting around talking. So
I mean, I know we've only done like 3 of them, but that was our most unique one.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Cause I didn't, I mean, I don't know anything about yoga or hiking. So, immediately I'm like, wait, you can do that and take pictures of whiskey and drink whiskey. That's cool. I didn't know those could be combined, but he did it and he does it really well.
Yeah. So we go through, we had 3 barrels of rye to pick from, and we unanimously, I think, with the group. So it was in the tasting was you, me, Don from Fairview, Zach Helton, who's Jack Daniel's brand ambassador. And then we had 3 friends of Don's that are podcasters. So shout out to you guys as well that were along for the pick. And we all unanimously chose one of the barrels. And then we went back through and we're like, man, these other 2 are gaining on it, but it's still this one. So,
yeah, I was at first, it was unanimous. Yes, I agreed, but I was like, guys, the second, like, let's pump the brakes. Everybody was ready to be done. I just like, let's just pump the brakes and let's revisit 2 for a second. 1 was an immediate, it wasn't memorable, short finish. I mean, it was good. It just wasn't 2 and 3. 2 and 3 just kind of had, some different vibes. You know what I mean? But 3 ended up winning the day. So it ended up being unanimous, but I did want to just revisit 2 a few different times. 2, I think had I can't remember exactly. I think it had my favorite nose. 3's finish crushed. It was there for a long time.
Number 2 tasted more like a bourbon to me. It was a lot sweeter. It had a lot of like the sweet tea notes, a lot of the tannic tobacco notes, but it was a sweeter rye. And not that that's a bad thing, but to me, what I loved about number 3, the one that we picked, was very, very unique, but it was very much a rye. It had that character it was just shy of 6 years old. So a really delicious rye, a good amount of age on it, had some maturity. It tasted the most mature to me. That while number 2 had a lot of sweet and barrel influences, number 3 it drank well beyond the 5.5, just shy of 6 years that it spent in a barrel. And that's why I really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think all of those were just shy of 6 years. So they were
they were all around the same age. This probably maybe the same run of distillate even.
They didn't have like the Rickhouse information handy. Like she could have gotten it for us if we would have, said, hey, can we get that? But it wasn't readily available to us. So we didn't really need it. We knew which one. I mean, we were all very excited about the pick. We're,
I love that Greaves is throwing that out there as though he is very well versed in the nuances of the Jack Daniel's Rickhouses to know which one he would have liked better.
I actually don't know which one, but I do like to know the floor.
So what's cool about she had a line and I wrote it down that was because not only do they have multi-tiered rickhouses, but the property itself is set in the hills. So there are some rick houses that are up on a very smallish foothill, mountainish type thing. And then there's some are low. And she said that they refer to it as the hills, the valleys, and the Great Plains of the Jack Daniels rick houses, because there's so many different, there's so many, and there's so many different elevation changes within their property that, like, you could be the top floor of a rick house that is set in a valley that is very low compared to like a bottom floor of one that's right up on top of a hill. So that's pretty fascinating when not only do you have these multi-tiered rick houses, but within the landscape of your property, there is significant elevation changes, which can obviously play into the aging and maturity. That I'm surprised there's not like Jack Daniels Rick blog or something out there that exists where people talk about the nuances in the single barrels based off of the location of the different rick houses. And if I had the wherewithal to do it, or the nerdy capacity to do it, I think that would be something that could be really interesting, but I can't do that.
Yeah. We got some, I'm very excited because later on we're going to do like a special piece on our trip to Jack Daniels. We had our buddy Jeb come along with us. He shot some B-roll for us. I shot some B-roll. We also have some stills and stuff like that, but Jack Daniels sent us a B-roll package as well. So we've got a ton of really awesome B-roll from Jack Daniels. And so we're going to put together like a little piece that, you know, could be used if you're thinking about visiting Jack Daniels. This will kind of put you in the mood. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gideon asked a question, did we do BP, or it was just the regular single barrel rye? So that 94 proof single barrel rye that you can get, and hopefully one day. And she said, even that's the biggest question they get these days is, when will they do a barrel proof rye? And we know that they did a special release and it was fantastic. But at this point, they just have the proof down rye for single barrel program.
Right. Yeah. Here's where I'm just weird.
Gideon is saying that they don't put all the barrel info on the bottles and everything. That is correct. That is correct. Well, no, he's saying even when you receive it. But they have that information. Yeah. You can ask them. And she was like, people just most of the time don't. But it's not like Knob Creek that has like, here's a poster that shows which rick house and where in the rick house on this map yours was listed. But they definitely do allow you to, if you ask, if you're like, hey, where did this come from? They have that information. It's just not something they put on their bottles or send a map with you.
And they even get questions like, and they can find the information out for you, like how much did the barrel weigh? The barrel weight has a lot to do with fill level. And so like if if like your market does really well with Jack Daniels, like you might, if it comes down to 2 barrels and you like them both equally, the retailer might actually pick to have one that weighs more in order to get more product in the liquor store.
Yeah.
So that's just something else too. But yeah, all that stuff they can get for you if you want it. She could have gotten the information for us, but we just didn't press her on it, and she didn't have it readily available. And I didn't really care.
No, Don asked for it, and she's sending it to him.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we didn't press her for it like it was a.
Well, no, she said
we were in a press conference, and we let that one slide, folks. We just let it slide.
She said she could get it right then.
No.
Oh my gosh. Whatever, man.
Grease took his shirt off at one point too, so that was
we didn't get to meet Goose. Somebody said Goose is the best. We've heard. We didn't get to meet Goose. We did hear a great story about a guy named Earl who basically saved a bunch of yeast.
That's one way. That is one way to put it, Grease. That is one way to put it.
And it was something,
with words, my friend.
He forgot to do something, and then the yeast got out, and it was about to saunter outside of the factory. And apparently that's a no-no. And when people came up on the factory or whatever it was, the warehouse, I don't know what it was, the lab, Earl is stretched out across the doorway, blocking the yeast, holding it in with his entire body. And while people got there we're able to shut it off. But he was like, I ain't losing no yeast tonight. Zero chance.
Yeah. Not because he was afraid of losing the yeast, though. You do understand that, right?
Well, he was just, he didn't want to lose his job.
Right. But you understand it, like, it was because that's an environmental hazard. Like,
yeah.
They didn't want it to get into the water supply.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want that stuff. I mean, dude, unregulated yeast growth. Let me go ahead and tell you something, dude. They make like medications to get rid of that. So you don't want that just sauntering around everywhere, especially
you're a
in the water.
disgusting human being.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I know you're not wrong at all, like that, but you're just a sick guy.
I think I don't know if people. I don't think people want to hear me be sick, and I didn't mean it to be sick.
You're pretty sick. You're a pretty sick dude.
Now, I've actually had to take more sick days this year already at work than I did the last 2 years combined.
No one cares.
Well, I had that stomach bug.
A HIPAA violation. There's a HIPAA violation.
Well, it was. You HIPAA violated. You violated my HIPAA. Oh man, why does that sound sexual? It does. I don't know why it does. You violated my HIPAA.
I'm upset.
Oh man, upset. Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait till like all this stuff just goes away and people can come to my Nook and sign it. Because I did this chalkboard paint, so when people come over here and drink at my house, they get to sign their name to the wall.
Yeah,
I got a lot of signatures here. It warms my heart, and I really love it. But man, we hit a stride real early, and then we had to pump the brakes.
No one cares about your wall. So then after we picked barrel number 3,
walls work. Will.
I'm trying. We had a theme, and you're just trying to talk about yourself.
I'm sorry.
So we're moving on. Mom, don't make mom and dad fight tonight, Grease. Then we after that we got to go on a tour with Ben, and Ben was a fantastic tour guide. Very knowledgeable. It was super cool. We got to go into the still house, which was the first time Ben said he had gotten to do it since March of last year. So since everything shut down. They've only been open for a little while back at the distillery, but there's still a lot of places that aren't open for the tour, but the tours are great. It is a very unique facility. There's a lot of knowledge you can gain from a tour at Jack Daniel's about just the whiskey industry, about how things are done, about history. That I've been to some tours that don't have as much. Like I know, like the Hard Hat tour at Buffalo Trace, that's another example of one where you can just learn a lot. And there are distilleries that have these like immersive tour type things. And then there are some that are just kind of like, you walk into a room, you watch a little video, and then you see one thing, and then you're good. This is not that. So this is more on par with like a Buffalo Trace type tour where you can get a lot of information. You can see a lot of things. The tour guides pride themselves in their tour giving abilities, and they're hired for that purpose. Like it's an honored position. So if you're near Jack Daniel's, especially if you're in Tennessee and you've never been, if you're in the Nashville area, it's under an hour and a half drive to get there. It is definitely worth a little day trip to go. If you're trying to find a place to go be outdoors for a little bit, that you can actually go do something, go down there because they are open and it's safe. It's outside. You're having a good time. You're learning a lot. And they also have a bottle shop as well. We can talk about in a minute, but let's talk. Grease, what were your thoughts on the tour? And Ben, by the way, try to get Ben as a tour guide. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I did love Ben. Ben was excited to do our tour because he hadn't been in a couple of places that we got to go since March of last year. So that was like a fun thing that
you're listening a lot to me, aren't you?
I'm just talking. I like Ben.
Yeah.
I like Ben. Yeah. And yeah. Anyway, we almost got to see a burn.
Yeah, we missed it.
I've
actually been on a tour where you get to see a burn. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's the sugar maple charcoal that they burn. They have the slats, they call them ricks. And they kind of lean forward and they burn that. And that they actually make all their own charcoal for the charcoal mellowing process there.
Yeah, it looks like a wood loom.
Yeah.
Like a woven stacked, and it's exactly 10 feet high because that's how Jack did it.
But it is they only do it as needed. Like they have a hopper that they store it in, and then they replace charcoal. There's like, I think they said 70 vats. Is that right?
Yeah,
I
maybe
think they said 70, something like that, vats that they use for the filtration. Then there's some shorter ones they use for Gentleman Jack and one other. The rye, I think it may have been rye because it doesn't need much filtration.
Right.
But they have
shorter.
They have shorter ones, but
because they don't want to strip it too much because it strips too much of the spice out.
Right.
The integrity of the rye,
which I thought was fascinating too. That they were using a different size filtration for rye, but it's the charcoal in those vats last about a year, and so they don't have to burn all the time. But I've seen one, and we missed
they are
this one.
Staggered, so it's like a constant thing. From what I understand, about 5 days a week, they do 2 burns a day to kind of keep it going. It's about a 2-hour process, start to finish. But they'll fill up these big vats and stuff, and so they'll bring the charcoal in there, and then they kind of grind it down to get more finer, and then they kind of then they analyze it to make sure it's the right size, and then by the time they mill it down, they might need some more, and so they'll call in another burn to kind of add to it. But it's a fascinating process. I mean, it's just something so unique to Tennessee whiskey. In that regard, and especially at Jack Daniel's. So, and
we have a good relationship with them. They've been very kind to us. They gave us the hospitality there was fantastic, but it was interesting. One, like obviously the pride of the people that work there in the product, like they are all in on the brand, which is great. But on top of that, like just hearing there's like 2 people that work the charcoal burns. And that's their job, like it's not like a whole team. It's not like, oh, here's an entry-level dude that can burn some charcoal. Like there's a lot of knowledge that goes into it. There's a lot of science. Because
if they put water on it too early, like they can mess it up. If they put water on it too late, they can mess it up. So like these 2 guys, like, I mean, I feel like they could ask for a raise at any time because I mean, who else? They would either have to get trained by them.
Right. And there's also like these 2 rocking chairs that they just like sit out there, watch their burns and control it. And there's a lot of folksy down home.
Do you think they smoke cigarettes?
No idea, but it would not surprise me. Unless there's
burn,
a weird
dude.
There could be this weird thing where they're like, I mean, one, maybe I don't know if they can or can't, but the other thing, it would be like, no, I mean, you have to have your nose clear to know when to douse it with water or when to accelerate the burn. Like I use my nose only when I burn. Like I could see there being some weird, like,
I don't know, man, dude,
sixth sense about it.
You're in good old boy town, bro.
Yeah.
They're just like, nah, man, we just know when it's done.
Right. And for being such a large global brand that is so big, it does have a very down home feel to it, right?
What if they're like, no, man, like we hit a carton of Marlboro Reds, and when we're done with that, we know it's done.
That's their time.
Right. It's something. It's got to be something like that. I'm not saying it is. This is not us knowing. This is me wanting it to be the case.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
I thought it was interesting too during the tour that he mentioned that Chris and even his wife, because his wife was on the tour with us. I think you already mentioned that. But it was interesting because I feel like it's very different between Jeff Arnett and Chris Fletcher, because Chris is all about the process. He's like I don't know. He's a chemist. He was a chemistry major.
Like, he geeks out about it, like in a good way. Like that's not a negative term. It's really cool.
No, and he was, he's been employed at other, distilleries and stuff, and then came back to Jack Daniel's, and then had been there for 7 years, number 7. That's kind of great. But then he became the number 8th master distiller. I'm excited to have him on the show. I just want to hear him talk. I want to hear him talk about it.
So DC in the chat mentioned Ezra Distiller's collection is charcoal mellowed and twice as good as the new 99 bottling. I haven't had the 99 bottling yet. We're going to pick up a bottle. I know our buddy Tarak down at Elixir has a bottle or has it in stock, so maybe we'll go pick one up from him. But another interesting thing is that, and I mean, there's pros and cons to charcoal mellowing. There's pros and cons to Tennessee whiskey and bourbon. Obviously, Grease and I are more bourbon drinkers than anything. But it's one distinction about like most bourbons and Kentucky bourbons that use a charcoal mellowing use it as a post aging filtration, and the almost like a chill filtering kind of mellowing. And then, but Jack Daniels is doing it pre-aging. So, I mean, there's probably also arguments that could be had about which one's better or what it's going to do. But that's typically the distinction, is that with the Tennessee whiskey, they're doing it before it goes in the barrel, and the Kentucky bourbons that use it, because I know like Heaven Hill, especially with like their bottle and bond, it says charcoal mellowed and everything. That's post aging, is they're running it through a charcoal filtration mellowing, and it's a similar type concept to doing like a chill filtration that you would do that's just more scientifically advanced. Like it's the old school
How
way
much
of doing
is that
it.
like of Brita? Because you and I have filtered daggum whiskey through a Brita and it did not do well.
I mean, it's just the it's not like it's dissimilar. A Brita would be a lot more fine activated charcoal, packed crazy to try to strip everything out. This would be more loose charcoal filtration.
Gotcha. Kind of
to not just strip it. So
cool. I'm into that. I'm fine with it. Here's the deal. I Jack Daniel's single barrel picks are some of my favorite picks.
Yeah.
I don't care how they do it. I don't care if it's before or it's after, or they make it exactly like every other person. They're doing something right because they're so freaking good. Those barrel proof, the barrel proof rye, the barrel proof bourbon are lights out. But I've got a McConnell pick down here, which is the restaurant group of Cork and Cow here in Franklin, Tennessee. I've got a rye pick. It's the 94 proof. It's one of my favorite ryes of all time.
Yeah.
It's so freaking good. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I do know what they're doing. We went on a tour, but I thought the most fascinating thing that I actually got to see, because we didn't get to see the burn. We got to see the remnants, but I learned so much about the charcoal filtering, because it's in this huge vat and there's this piping apparatus and the holes are drilled. The whiskey kind of seeps out through the tops of these pipes. So it dissipates and kind of wraps around the pipes and then drops down just to kind of make it spread out a little bit more. So it's not like there's this huge water hose of whiskey being flown, put in there, and it's just going straight through. Like it's like a web in there of piping, and it's dripping. But it might not look like it's dripping a lot of liquid, but because it's so much piping in there and, the drips are happening constantly, like it ends up being, several gallons an hour that go through that process. I thought it was fascinating. I learned something new. It was also interesting to see kind of the sizing of the charcoal that they like to use in that element or whatever.
I do want to give a shout out to the Mash Bill. He actually did a post for that mentioned us today on Instagram, and he has a great YouTube channel. I was on his live last night for a little bit, and he also does lives on Instagram, but he did a shout out and told people to go like our channel. So I want to say thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Thank you.
And if you're watching and haven't liked our channel yet, go ahead and do that. Hit like and subscribe and ring the bell so you get notifications when we go live. But I appreciate that, Mash Bill, and thanks for hopping on here to watch us live. So yeah,
we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I want to be on your show. How did you get on his show?
I was watching it.
Oh, you were just watching.
That's what I meant. Like I was on his live. Like I was watching it. No. Last night was my wife's birthday. If I were on live, I would have probably been in trouble.
I went live for like an hour and 45 minutes talking about Whiskey Weekend with some of our favorite people, and you were like, I can't make it tonight, Grease.
No,
You're gonna
no,
have
no,
to do it. And I thought you just told me that so you could be on somebody else's show, and you didn't
no.
want me to be on it.
No, when I say like I was on his live, I meant like I was watching it. Like
Watching. Okay, because
I had his live on my screen. I was watching, and yeah, he does some fun stuff. I really like it. So
yeah.
And our buddy Matt Porter's watching right now.
Yeah, he's on here all the time. He makes me feel so like awesome. He says, "Yeah, we're a couple of cold Tennessee boys for sure. It just keeps snowing. And it was all sleet first, and then it's just been snow crazy since then. So I feel like we've gotten at least 5 inches total on top of ice. It's been
yeah. It was at least an inch, maybe 2 inches of ice, and just rock solid ice, and then
it was so much ice it looked like snow.
So much ice. We did, but we'll finish up talking about the bottle shop at Jack Daniel's before we move on to the 15. But we have done so much sledding. I found CVS had sleds like 2 days in and went and bought sleds. We have been going sledding after the kids have gone to bed because we have this like kind of like drainage retention area like right across from our house, and we have been going night sledding, just me and Samantha. It is a blast. And when it was just the ice, we literally I probably going 25 miles an hour.
Oh no, you sent me videos
so dang fast. And there was a telephone pole that you had to be very wary of. It was off to the side, but because you'd like kind of sling out and go real fast, that we would always try to lean away from it. Well, with the kind of toboggan style sled, we were leaning away trying to aim. No. We were, by leaning away from it, it was because like your weight, you're shifting your butt the other way. It was actually turning us towards it. And I didn't find that out till later.
Like
I'm like,
rudder.
oh, if we lean towards it, yeah, it's just like a boat rudder. It would shoot us the other way. And man, we would go probably 100 yards at 25 miles an hour. And just you feel like you're on a rocket. It was so much fun.
Okay. So let me get this straight. You wait for the kids to go to bed so you and your wife can go sledding on sleet, and you're using your butts as rudders in a retention pond. That's dirty. I love it.
Man,
that's great.
It was we had a rule that
it was her birthday and not yours, bro.
I know. We had to go we can only go one at a time in case one of us like broke our neck. We weren't like abandoning the children.
Well,
but
you can't go twosies on those daggum.
No, you can on the toboggan style one we had. We did it one time. We were like, we probably shouldn't do this. But I got road rash from one going down right on my hip when we were going down, because my daughter, who's 3, loves it too. But this was one of the ice days, and we're going, and it was kind of getting dark, and it looked like there was like a tree limb or something had fallen. And so I was trying to lean away with it, trying to avoid it, because I've got my 3-year-old with me, and I see it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, we can't just hit this because I don't want it to like ricochet, hit her in the face or something. So I'm trying to lean. It's not working. So I just pick her up, set her on me, and I just bail onto my side, and the ice like pulled my jacket up and just scraped the heck out of the side of me. And I get up, and my wife's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm just making sure I'm not bleeding because it feels like it."
Okay, so we can add clothes came off and there was blood to that equation. I got it, dude. It's just keep going. This is getting nasty, and I'm okay with it.
It was a good birthday for her.
Yeah, dude. You want to talk? Well, okay. We need to finish, Jack. We need to talk about Crystal getting hacked after the 15th.
Oh yeah. That was all in the same night. I was 15th. So concerned. So then there's the bottle shop at Jack Daniel's, which actually has a really good selection of stuff. What'd you get? Oh, you got a Gentleman Jack that's a higher proof, right?
Yes,
90
and
proof Gentleman Jack.
yeah, and it's a limited edition,
Uh-huh.
and it was not expensive. I mean, it was $62.
$60. Yeah.
So, like out the door, because I don't think they charge tax, which is weird. But
Yeah.
this is a silver like edition, and it's 1 liter. So not only is it $62, but it's not for a 750.
Yeah.
But this is 86 proof, so 6 proof higher.
Then I got 2 Tennessee Tasters.
And I don't think I'm going to open it, Will.
Of course you're not. That's weird.
Well, because this one, I don't know. I need to go get another one. It's not that bad priced. I should have gotten 2. I'm going to go back down there at some point, but I don't know. Like this, I've just been on this kick right now because some of my buddies are acquiring these old vintage Jack Daniels, and they look incredible. I want to own something that's 30 years ago in Jack Daniels when it's a completely different bottle. And I just want to pull this out and like just look at it. They're so interesting to look at. Yes, you're supposed to drink the whiskey in them, and we do. But I also love like the art of it. Like this stuff is art. These bottles, like the creations, what they're doing. Like I'm completely fine with getting an extra one, especially if it's a limited edition release, and just kind of holding on to it for a while. I mean, I'm eventually going to drink it.
I doubt it. I got a couple Tennessee Tasters, which are
if it keeps snowing, I'll drink it.
They're 375 milliliters, so a half bottle. But it's their experimental runs. I did a Fresh Crack Live with the Jack Daniels finished in Jamaican allspice wood, which is really fascinating. I can't wait to get your opinion on it, Grease. We're gonna have to do it on a 15. But they had that. They had the barrel proof rye Tennessee Tasters, which is really good. And I did they had 2 others. One was like hickory smoked, one was like wine finished. I didn't get those. But they had a half size Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select, which I bought, which is kind of cool because
Sinatra's expensive.
It's really expensive, and so a half bottle was still pretty expensive. It was like $65 or $70, but they had it in a half bottle.
Did the little one? It was just the bottle. It didn't come in
like
a box. It didn't come with this book that we have in here about Sinatra, which is super cool.
But it's a cool whiskey, and I actually think it's really good. It's just not something I necessarily want to drop that much money on. But I know a half bottle, $70 is still pretty expensive, but it gets you in the door and you can try it. And I thought it was cool they had it there. They also have like engraving you can do. Like if we had to get back on the road, but we could have gotten the podcast logo because we had a PNG of it like etched into the bottle. You could have had that done on your Jack Daniels Gentleman Jack, Grease.
Oh, I know. I know.
Yeah, so there was a decent selection that I wasn't necessarily expecting at the distillery, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah, no, and apparently, yeah, it's a third-party service that it happens outside or something like that, which is good because we kind of shut the shop down, but we still could have gotten it engraved because they could have shut the doors, but we still could have gotten it. I didn't get it done. Yeah, it's fine.
It looks like I froze up. Am I moving to you?
Oh yeah, no, you're not moving.
That's weird.
You can keep talking. You can just bounce in and bounce out real quick. And
you know what I think we should do?
We should do the 15.
We should go to the 15.
Yeah, you want to tell them what we're doing?
Yeah, we're actually going to drink, since we're talking about Jack Daniels, we're going to drink Jack Daniels single barrel proof. This is a Fairview Liquors barrel proof pick. It's 132 proof, and
the funny thing was,
it's pretty fun.
You mentioned doing this for the 15, and I was like looking for it. I was like, oh man, I got that sample somewhere. I literally have like 10 bottles of it, like real bottles of it.
That's what I was asking about.
He just gave. I forgot, but we got this too, and it's going to be great. I've already had a sip of it.
Well, let's get to the 15 and try it out let's now. Hit the music.
Hey, while we do the 15, I'm going to play a Whiskey Weekend video. We've got Whiskey Weekend coming up in April 22nd through the 25th of 2021. And we have some slots available. I believe we've got about 15 slots available that open back up. You are more than welcome to go to whiskeytainment.com or Google Whiskey Weekend Batch 3 and go to the website there to kind of check that out and see what is up with that. and get all the information for that. But we're headed to Louisville, Kentucky for Whiskey Weekend Batch 3. It's essentially a multi-day event where we kind of take over a hotel. We have some really fun tastings. We've got some special guests this year, which is ADHD Whiskey. We've got BS and Bourbon, and It's Bourbon Night, Chad and Sarah. Bob Little and James from BS and Bourbon are going to come as well. So we've got some special guests. We've got an exclusive fun tasting with Dixon Deadman, and we also are going to have 3 distilleries doing tastings every night. So it's going to be a blast, but I'm going to play this video while we get ready for the 15. So check it out.
I think it's important to make moments all the time, to make memories all the time, to add to your inventory of moments all the time.
You've got all of these things, these little bitty things that matter for a big picture, right? And the only thing that I can say is that just like creating a bourbon, like you guys have created a community and something so special that I can't really put my finger on, and it's truly a blessing to be a part of. And I don't think that this exists with one person.
Washington State, California, Utah, Alabama, Florida, Minnesota, Indiana, Wisconsin, Chicago.
You have older and younger, male, female.
There's nothing more fun than opening a bottle and seeing the joy, the way people react to it. We made memories this afternoon in that tasting. Like that's it. We win.
I think the best part of this weekend is you guys saying yes and coming, and that's it.
Yeah. That was batch 1. That was at Beaumont Inn this year.
Cherry.
This is batch 3. It's going to be at the Galt House, downtown Louisville, on the river. It's borderline romantic is what it is.
Go to whiskeytainment.com. If you are interested, you can find out a little bit more information there and sign up. So whiskeytainment.com. And we're back from the 15.
Some say we never left, Will.
All right. We've got a lot of new folks on here, and it makes me really happy. A lot of people that found us from Matt Porter, ADHD Whiskey. So I want to shout out to them. Ken, he said he was the first person to subscribe after watching us with Matt. So thanks for joining, everyone, and we're having a good time. I know Casey Jones is on here. He said he wants to make it to a whiskey weekend soon, so I hope you can join us there. But if you're listening on the podcast feed, you're watching this later, go to whiskeytainment.com. You can learn more about Whiskey Weekend, our event. That is at the end of April 22nd through 25th in Louisville, Kentucky.
And registration is closing in March, so get there, learn about it, sign up when you can if you want to come. It's great. I always say, and I did a full-on live yesterday, if you want to kind of get opinions from our people that have gone before, but it's a very unique experience. And we always say that the pours are great, but the people are better. We have insane pours planned for that weekend. So I always like to say, if you've got a bottle that's got a good value to it, it could pay your way. And what'd I do? It could pay your way. and I promise you that experience will absolutely crush whatever enjoyment you get of seeing that bottle up on a shelf unopened. I promise.
Well, that's a weird way to say it. I don't know if I encourage people selling whiskey extra legally, but let's move on from
just
that.
Just give it to your friend and then have the friend buy you a ticket.
If you haven't watched Grease's live from last night, you should check it out. If you're interested in Whiskey Weekend, it was with a lot of our alumni and they really get into it, and it was super fun. You're on for almost 2 hours, which is really cool. But we are drinking on the 15 Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. This is a pick that Don did just before going to pick this rye. So he's got a lot of Jack Daniel's moving through there. And this is, it's got a sticker on it. It says, "Tell him I'm coming." And the barrel proof is coming with me. It's a pretty fun sticker.
Right. And
It's
we saw the
100
sticker for the rye pick too.
Well, I'm talking about this right now. We can talk about that later.
Okay.
This is 132 proof even. So it's 66% alcohol. Yeah, and yes, while it's interesting when we decide to do a like a single barrel pick on a show, because we're going to talk about it specifically, but I think we can go a little bit further out and say we want to talk generally about these Jack Daniel's single barrel proof picks, because they are really good. If you hear the audio, it comes with a metal tag, bottle tag, that says specifically or specially selected for, and it has the Fairview Liquors and Fine Wines logo on it. It's in a beautiful like decanter style with a cork with a JD single barrel hand selected stopper on it. It's got gold stickers on it. It's a classy presentation. And the lower proof one, the 92 proof, is instead of gold, it's like a bluish gray, and then the rye is like a crimson. So they're really pretty. But
yeah, those tags are awesome. I wanted to. So we were very fortunate to be on the Jack Daniel's podcast called Around the Barrel.
Mm-hmm.
We have these barrel heads that have our names on them, and they're the coolest things ever. But selfishly, I want to see one of those silver tags with daggum the podcast on it so dang bad.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna talk to. That's one of the questions I got for Chris. I don't think I can talk to him about that.
If you can just get tags.
No, I want to talk to him about doing our own pick.
Oh no, he doesn't run that. Don't do that.
I know. I'm just gonna talk to him about it though. I'm just gonna tell him. I'm just gonna feel it out. If he really likes this, if he likes talking, if like it's a good hang, it's like, dude, I gotta drink with y'all again. I'm like, well, you can, and you just let us come and pick a barrel proof rye.
So that drinking with show has been indefinitely put on hold. It's gonna be great. But let's talk about the whiskey real quick.
I am still, so the first time I got a maple note on it, and I'm still getting a maple note on the front palate.
Mm-hmm.
It is creamy. The finish is freaking long. What's the proof on it? You got the bottle right there.
I've literally said that about 6 or 7 times. So you just weren't listening. I'm going to try to let you guess. Let's play the guessing game.
124.
132.
Great. Drinks like 124.
Yeah, it does not. The nose is definitely not like burning my nostrils, which can with some of those really high proof.
Some of y'all commenting about my glass, Ryan Still.
Yeah, you're drinking out of a decanter.
Well, so I keep forgetting to bring glasses back down here. I had 8 right here, which, by the way, these are super cool. A buddy of ours makes these little Glencairn holders.
Right.
They're super, yeah, they're super easy. His name is Brandon. And he put our logo on the bottom. I don't know if I can get in that tight to see it. Let me see if I can get this to zoom in. I don't know if it's right here, but
it's too dark. You can't see it.
It's too dark. But yeah, it's got the podcast on it. I mean, he pressed it in there. It's so freaking rad. But these are not expensive. These were like $20 maybe, something like. I mean, not expensive. And they hold your Glencairns. I have a couple of them over here, and I used to have 8 of them over here, but I ran out. So now
Glencairns or those glass holders?
No, the Glencairns. I've got the glass holders right here. But I ran out. You
said you had 8 of them. I'm like, I don't have one of those.
Well, I had 8 glass. So fair. Pause. The reason I have two over here that can hold 8 glasses is because one of them is for you. I keep
know.
forgetting, keep forgetting to bring them to you, but I'm gonna do that, and I'm really sorry. I just want apologies, but here's the deal, dude. You've been too busy freaking bleeding, sledding, and all that stuff. So don't even like at me about that.
I wasn't bleeding, and that was yesterday.
Okay,
So
full recovery.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this: nosing out of this crystal decanter.
there's a lot of air room, and it's funneling it straight up to the old nostrils.
Yes. I'm telling you right now, like I can nose the crap out of this. Now it's very, what's the word when it's high alcohol? Astringent, or is that viscous?
Yeah. No, astringent could be if it
What
is
does
like,
viscous mean?
like oily, thick.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, that's what the palate is. This is So I'm getting, it is a little sharper on the nose because you're getting all that alcohol vapor. It's not like going everywhere. But I can appreciate nosing out of a daggum decanter. It's sending me all the notes that I need to send.
This is fantastic. It tastes. I mean, Jack Daniel's is not.
It's pre-roasted marshmallows. Do you know how like when you smell a marshmallow,
Yep.
or a light like if you just roast a marshmallow for like 30 seconds and it's not even really brown yet.
Yeah, no.
And
So
you
a
smell
toasted
it?
marshmallow.
It's like pre-toast. It's like warm. It's just like a warm marshmallow is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
That's what the nose is, like 1,000%. It's creamy on the palate. It is a long freaking finish. And I'm getting a maple note.
And I also get an oaky tobacco note in there as well. Nice, like air dried tobacco.
Oh man, viscous. So oily that it just sticks. It just sticks in your mouth.
Right.
Which is very similar to what, like George T. Stagg or William LaRuello, like those cask strength, mature, just next level BTACs. And, like number one, I love BTAC. BTAC's my favorite line ever. George T. Stagg specifically, just consistently. I know this is not BTAC, but this has so many characteristics that just remind me of a special release that I just can't not compare it to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those barrel proof bourbons for sure. Now the barrel proof rye, I would compare that to Handy any day of the year.
Well, and you're thinking it's a barrel proof rye, similar age. So while there are different mash bills, different processes, different things like that, though you are looking at, as far as realms of comparison, it's not apples and oranges. You're talking about age, proof, style of whiskey. You're kind of in the same realm. That's a fair thing to compare it to.
Yeah, no, it is.
So.
It's at the end of the day, I've had a lot of Jack Daniel's barrel proofs that I would consider special.
Yeah.
This one is very special. It's very good. I mean, Don's palate is one of my favorites in all of Tennessee. And he just does a really great job. So this thing sold out like before it hit the shelf pretty much. He told people no and kept like 5 cases, 30 units to sell in store. Because I mean, ideally these liquor stores want people to come into the store and shop. Like they want them to come in there.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. It's a business, and Don doesn't inflate.
You end up grabbing more bottles if you go pick. I got to go pick this one up. It brings you in the door, and then you grab a couple things. So.
Right. I'm going there. My wife loves martinis. I'm going to pick up, a case of vodka while I'm there. You know what I mean? Like It's just that mentality. You got to get them in the store to get that extra sale. It's a business. I understand that. But the great thing about what Don does is it's not marked up in any. It's not even like marked up 10%. It's not. Now, the state of Tennessee sales tax, I mean, they're going to, that's a whole thing. They're marking it up. But no, I mean, we love what Don does. He's honest. He's just a good old boy that, just He treats his customers well, and all he asks is, that we treat him well. So, an amazing talent. Like, this Joker did not own this liquor store 2 years ago, I don't think, or maybe it was around 2 years ago. He bought it off of somebody else and has really just taken this store off, and it's such a good location. He's doing a great job.
The barrel picks he does are great. This one specifically is clearly a buy. I think that anytime you happen upon a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, I'm going to rate it as a buy because it is cast strength whiskey, 6 to 7 years old. I haven't had a bad one, to be honest. And
they're roughly about $65 ish, somewhere in there.
Right, $60 to $65.
$70 out the door.
If the only thing you've ever tried is Old Number 7. And so you think you don't like Jack Daniels, you need to think again, because whether it be rye, and you can actually go buy single barrel, I think higher proof single barrel just off the shelf. You can definitely buy the single barrel rye that isn't a store pick at most liquor stores. And it's a really good value for a really good whiskey that you probably haven't tried. That actually was on a Zoom call with Chris Fletcher when it was talking about, about this. You're making a face like you had no idea.
I know.
It was with like some other journalists and things that were, it was like kind of a press tour virtually for the rye. He led people through a tasting for the limited release rye, the cast strength. And he was talking about how much he loves the rye and how a lot of times when they pour the single barrel rye, just the one you can get off the shelf, not the 94 proof that's not a store pick, but it's still a single barrel and it's going through their tasting panel. It's still going to be good. That they will, he'll have it in a lineup in a tasting, and people are like, this is unbelievable. Where can I get this whiskey? And he'll be like, probably at any liquor store you shop at, because it's widespread. It's a widespread release. It's not something that's like on allocation or something. And if they have more than just like bottom shelf whiskey and stuff, if they have some more specialty products, they're going to have it. So it's an interesting thing to look at. If you haven't tried some of these Jack Daniel's products, I'm a buy on a lot of them.
So for those new to us, because we are on YouTube now and there's a lot of new people that have come over. We have this rating of buy, bar, and pass. And during the pandemic times, we're also doing this thing called borrow, because we like to borrow whiskey.
Right.
And so that's a rating. That's our rating system. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward, but I agree with you. Like this pick, and honestly, all of Jack Daniel's barrel proofs that I've had, I would be a buy on that 100%.
Yep. Yeah. Specifically for the barrel proof single barrel, I'm always a buy on it. I think if I don't have I'm not necessarily, if they're a store pick, I'm probably going to pick it up if it's there, because they actually are going pretty quickly right now. So,
right. The Mash Bill just sent us a message. He's got to run, but again, guys, go and check out his show as well. He's going to be live again on this Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So go and check him out, because
he's in Southern California. So,
oh, is he?
He's not cold. He's not cold right now.
San Diego? We talking about what?
I don't know. I just know he's in Southern California and he's not cold right now.
I don't know anywhere else in Southern California. Oh, wait, hang on.
Los Angeles is considered Southern California.
That is loose Southern.
That's
low. That's like low.
Sure.
That's like lower mid, bro.
I think they call that Southern California.
I mean, it's always sunny there. But
the University of Southern California is in Los Angeles, dum-dum.
That I understand that there's names for it, but I'm just saying, like, if you look at it on a map, you're like, oh, that's try hard. You know what I mean?
All right, folks, this has been fun. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button. If you like this stream, go ahead and give us a like, but subscribe and ring the bell if you want to watch more videos as well. If you are listening to this, rate and review us on iTunes, and thank you for listening to the show. And if you want to learn more about Whiskey Weekend, go to whiskeytainment.com. It's like entertainment and whiskey combined, because that's what we do. Whiskeytainment.com. Check it out. And we hope to see you there in Louisville, Kentucky with us April 22nd through 25th. And Grease, we don't know Jack,
but we'll drink it.
Hey, you should roll that promo again, because it gives me all the feels.
The Whiskey Weekend promo?
Let's do it.
Oh, okay. I can do that. Here we go.
I think it's important to make moments all the time, to make memories all the time, to add to your inventory of moments all the time.
You've got all of these things, these little bitty things that matter for a big picture, right? And the only thing that I can say is that just like creating a bourbon, like you guys have created a community and something so special that I can't really put my finger on, and it's truly a blessing to be a part of. And I don't think that this exists with one person.
Washington State, California, Utah, Alabama, Florida, Minnesota, Indiana, Wisconsin, Chicago.
You have older and younger, male, female.
There's nothing more fun than opening a bottle and seeing the joy, the way people react to it. We made memories this afternoon in that tasting. Like that's it. We win.
I think the best part of this weekend is you guys saying yes and coming. And that's it.